All right, so I'm about to mount the engine onto the engine rack, or in the engine mount, but I wanted to kind of address a couple of things. First of all, a lot of folks have cherry pickers, and the problem with cherry pickers is that they have legs that will interfere with the engine stand, and so it's hard to transfer from one to the other. Well, this is my solution for that. This right here is a Harbor Freight electric winch. You see, I've got it mounted in the attic of my garage. What I've done is I bought a 6 foot long 1 3/4 inch bar, 6 feet long, so that it can engage likely 4 different joists, so that the load is spread along a much longer distance, not just the 2 joists here. So anyway, the idea here is don't worry about having extra feet to trip over. You just hoist the engine up with the winch. And then, the other advantage to having a winch in your garage is instead of a cherry picker, that when you're done with it, you just pick it up and put it away. You don't even have to know that you have it. The cherry picker is going to sit in your garage and take up space, and you'll only use it once or twice when you're moving engines around. So it's kind of a pain in the butt. This way, I've got a winch. Anytime I need to pick up something that's over 400 pounds, I can do it with this thing with no problems. So let's go ahead and put the engine in the engine mount. There you go. Got some chains on there. This thing doesn't have a lot of places to connect the chains on the back side of the engine. In this case, I took some old head studs. I'm going to replace these studs for the head. Anyway, I took these old ones and it gave me a good place to get a piece of chain in there. The other advantage to that is lifting from the top side, it's a lot less likely to flip one way or the other. But I do have these connected on the bottom side, so I have a good center of balance while I'm lifting, and I was able to balance the chain so that when I lifted it, it came up pretty level. That makes it a lot easier for you to mount these bolts that go in the engine. These are 3/8 by 24. They're a fine thread, and they'll fit right into the back of the engine. Now you'll notice I didn't put the back plate on the engine yet, because part of what I'm working on this week is I'm going to take off this main bearing and put new bearings in there, and then I also have to mount the crankshaft. So if I had put that back plate on there, it sure would have been easier to mount the engine onto the engine rack, but it would have made it impossible for me to do that task. So anyway, while you have it kind of loose, you see I don't have it tightened up yet. While you have it loose, kind of look at the mount and see that you have it lined up symmetrically, and also look at the center of the mount where the pivot point is, and try to eyeball that through the center of the motor. You'll see when you get it up in there, if you have it too heavy one direction or the other, when you start moving it around, inertia will and the gravity will kind of want to do things for itself. But before you get it all tightened up, make sure that you inspect to make sure that you have good symmetry in all of your bolts and that the weight is evenly distributed. All right, there you go. Engine's mounted. You see my little worm gear attachment worked just fine. Moving everything just the way it's supposed to. And one of the other things you'll see about this little worm gear attachment is, you can see I am trying. That is not moving at all. That baby is nice and snug. It's not going to wobble back and forth like as if you had the bar with the little pin. That would have been pretty wobbly. So overall, pretty good solution. You see, next thing I have to work on here is I'm going to clean up all this rust that's inside. There's plenty of topical rust on the inside of the block in here. I'm going to pull off these main bearings and put the crank in. Now that I've got that all cleaned up, this is where the oil pump will go eventually. So anyway, there you go. How to mount an engine stand using Harbor Freight. Deluxe Harbor Freight attachments. Here you go. You got the worm gear, and here you got the electric winch. much better than trying to wrangle a cherry picker and an engine stand at the same time.